It's time for WrestleShoot. The beast comes out in the dead of night. WrestleShoot eats a Tuesday night. Rob and Chris don't pull the punches, bitch. WrestleShoot. Breaking it down, WrestleShoot. Telling the facts, WrestleShoot. Stories on the road, WrestleShoot. That's our fire broadcast. No Carney ever escapes their sight. Coming at you live every Tuesday night. Hey, WrestleShoot. Anti-social network, WrestleShoot. Sticky and hot, WrestleShoot. Sometimes act like jerks, WrestleShoot. Always bringing on the guts.
Nice.
You know what, Max? Every fucking week, man, when we start the show, I could see all of our screens real small when the intro is playing. And like all three of us are always fucking rocking out to that intro music. One of these days, we're going to come on live, play the video with our reactions to it. It's
Oh,
just
fuck,
hilarious.
man. It's great. I fucking love that song, dude. It's so fucking great.
You have to make
so-
you see.
It's just an awesome song, and it fucking just, it's just funny. It's Tuesday night. It's WrestleShoot. Woo!
Woo! That's right, baby. And speaking of that, since you said it, this is WrestleShoot. We're the Antisocial Network. Give us a like and a sub and the booby, whatever you do, to let us know that you think we're okay. Or else this guy will do that for a whole show. And we don't want that.
No,
Don't bring
we
that.
don't want that. For the love of God and all things holy.
Oh, shit. Max, I had a pretty interesting afternoon. I'd like to share a little video with everybody. This has nothing to do with wrestling, but as we could see, Chris Casanova simply couldn't be here today. So he's not here to bitch at me. So let's go ahead and play some new shit. Hey guys, Rob Wilds here from ASN, and I just had to share a quick story with you. I just left Walgreens, and I was in line. Guy gets behind me, and a kid behind the counter said, "Hey, I like your hat." They looked to the guy behind him, who was wearing a Florida Gators hat, and said, "I don't really like yours." And the guy immediately came back with, "Oh, you must be a Democrat." So I said, "Hey, buddy, why do you got to be a Republican or a Democrat to care or have an opinion about a fucking football team? Let me ask you this, MAGA. Why are you so hell-bent on destroying fucking football?" Because of Bad Bunny. I couldn't understand him. Learn Spanish. Oh, I should have to learn Spanish? Yes. Yes, you should.
Yes.
In fact, nobody in the world should have to learn Spanish except you. Because
That's right.
Your position as MAGA is one of division, hate, and bullshit. Oh, I cut off the end where I politely asked them to go ahead and go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me fill that in for you. You said, go fuck yourself.
You know, it was just, and the reason I'm sharing that, people, is for fuck's sakes, this goddamn world is so divided right now, and it's all centralized around us. Yay, we now have a stain on this country. Just like Germany will always have the Hitler stain.
It's so hideous, man. I can't believe that anybody in this country wants the rest of the world to view us this way. We have fought since World War II to be a completely different country, to be that country that stood up for the little guy, that, we profess to be a Christian nation, and none of the stuff that's going on represents the guy that I always thought stood for Christianity. I guess I look at somebody different who was always preached kindness and love of your fellow man. In fact, the guy who said, "Love thy enemy."
And who would that be?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the point of it, isn't it, man? But your enemy is if you to say that to somebody is a profound fucking statement. And that's the part about this is when did division this kind of division equal America? That's what's always been so great about America is that you could
It
be
started in the last Trump presidency when he openly put party over country every opportunity. And it took a staunch Republican standing against him in the form of Liz Cheney, who said, you can't put party over country. That's treason.
yeah,
And she's right.
yeah.
Anyway, we
And
can't
where
get off
she
on a political tangent or Chris will kill us both.
where's she at now too though? That's the thing. Every time somebody, I mean, look at the irony of all of this is look at somebody like Green. I mean, here's somebody that couldn't have been a more serious MAGA supporter, and because she had the audacity to oppose, I mean, that's the scary part is there's nobody sacred in the party. It's either follow the emperor in his new clothes or you're fucked.
Yeah.
Period. So
So
so what? But
what's
I don't understand. Let me ask you a question about this. So I
yeah?
don't understand why are the Gators politically connected somehow?
And the thing is, the kid was making an obvious joke, like he's not a Gators guy, and he threw up the hand sign for his team, which I'm not going to do. But he's like, oh, because that little hand symbol for his team, he threw it up, which is, I'm not going to do it. He was just trying to be
for the
funny.
Canes. For the Canes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right. So, but what has that got to do with politics?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So he looks at me, goes, "Hey, I like your hat. This hat's not just a gimmick, baby. It's a lifestyle." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And he made a joke to the guy, "Oh, I don't really like your hat." And he threw up his little sign, and the guy went, "Oh, you must be a Democrat," all offended like. And that's what set me off on my tangent. I stopped and I said, "Hold on. What are you talking about? You must be a Democrat." When did football become partisan? Why do you have to be a Republican or a Democrat to be a Gators fan? It's obvious that MAGA are Gator fans. What the fuck is wrong with you? And he goes, well, I said, no, shut up. Why are you idiots trying to fuck up football? What's wrong with you? He immediately, oh, well, Bad Bunny, you made anti-American. But I say, shut the fuck up, man. The hell is your problem? You want to watch kid pedophile rock instead? You have that option to do it. You probably did do it. Right. But with that being said, learn Spanish if you couldn't understand it. If that's your big deal, if that's your big deal breaker on why you want to move the world, I should have to learn Spanish. Yes, nobody else in this store has to learn Spanish except you, because it takes you outside your comfort zone and maybe pulls you a little bit away from that hate and division standpoint that you live your life on. And people started laughing at him. A couple of people clapped in line, and I left.
God bless you for that, man. I'm sorry because I'm so sick of having the American flag hijacked by MAGA. What you can't even hang your flag out and be a patriot, because I mean, when I was a kid growing up, man, when fucking 4th of July rolled around, my parents fucking flew that flag so proudly. And fuck, if they did that now, then everybody would think they were MAGA. And how does the American flag become MAGA? How does who we are as a nation be kidnapped and hijacked by that kind of mentality? And I just the hatred and the anger that continues to perpetuate from that side, it just is so discouraging. It's unbelievably discouraging. And then of course, what always happens, they accuse you of being the one filled with hatred.
That's causing all the division. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, go back.
Oh, by the way, Max, just so Chris doesn't get mad at us, this whole political rant was done on the guise of what really pisses me off.
Yes.
You see what I did there, Max?
I see what you did there. God bless you for that. You know what? And I don't like the political rant either, because I don't want to offend. Because honestly, amazingly, when people of both sides sit down and really start to talk, when you really fucking when you clear away the murk of the bullshit of the division of hardcore this and hardcore that, it is amazing how much we all still have in common.
Yeah, when you step over that invisible line in the sand that says party. When
Yeah,
you step over
exactly.
the party line, you're just people. But the
And it's
problem is that's Max, but you're right about that being correct amongst Democrats and Republicans, but let's be honest, MAGA is a whole different thing, and there is no talking to them.
and that's the part that's the part that's sad. It's either their way or no way. And that's the part that, it's just like the Bad Bunny thing. Let me just say this about Bad Bunny. I watched it. I was absolutely going to be the guy that I want to. Okay, so this guy's obviously good enough that the NFL said, "Hey, we're going to put you on the halftime of the biggest fucking event in the world," and there's no
And let's
question.
let's let's be honest about that point. Is they grabbed Bad Bunny to play halftime at the biggest show in the world because that was the name they were going to be able to sell their $10 million commercials around.
Absolutely, and it's all about money. And here's the thing: there's this pesky little thing on the top of the remote. It's called an on-off button. If you don't like it, and I've said this over and over again, you don't have to fucking watch it. Nobody, not one person in the NFL, they didn't have fucking guys standing outside your door with arm twisters fucking going, "You're either going to watch this fucking halftime show or there's going to be a shitload of problem in your house."
We're coming to your house.
Right. They offered something. If and I was willing, I really was. My whole family, we all sat and watched it. Did I like it? I'm not going to say I loved it. I'm not going to say I hated it. I'm just going to say, you know what? I've seen a lot better halftime shows that entertained me in a way that I like. We talked about Prince, some of the other great halftime, even the hip hop shows that they've had.
Yes.
Kiss, yeah, I've enjoyed a lot of the halftime shows. And here's what I heard political satirists talking about. The only thing that the NFL has to worry about, and this is the point of what you just made, is that when people start going click at the halftime show because they don't like the choice you made, then all of a sudden those $10 million commercials you're trying to sell to those people that are fucking willing to spend that $10 million a pop, all of a sudden they start walking out the door on you because you decided that you're going to appeal to one very specific audience. And when that happens, then you can't be upset when, there are now, and that's the great thing about it, in my opinion, the beauty of what happened, because I'm a capitalist, man. The NFL opened the door for there to be alternative halftime shows that I'll tell you what, the next time there's not a great halftime show, I didn't want to watch Kid Rock and the bullshit that was going on, but
Right.
there will be, and you know that, and that's what this satirist said. There will be from now on alternative halftime shows, no matter what. And
Right.
that's where the NFL fucked up, because that door has now been open. And sometimes it's best to leave shit.
But what,
fucking
but
alone.
what about the Puppy Bowl? Right? There's always been an alternative.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
don't
And
give Turning Point any fucking credit. All they did was show their hate and racism. They didn't
no, I'm
do
not
it
giving
because
them
they
credit.
wanted an
No,
American show.
I just mean, all I'm meaning is I'm not talking about anybody specifically. I'm talking about the click of the chair. Look at me. I'm fucking doing a 1955 fucking television. I'm talking about the click. I'm going to go watch something else. And you know what, man? Maybe the NFL can afford to do that. I always thought that the whole point of what the NFL did with the Super Bowl is they wanted your eyeballs for 4 hours,
Yep.
and they didn't want you to leave. They wanted you. They wanted to consume you during the game, during the halftime, for an hour before and an hour after.
And after, yep.
So that's the part of the NFL. Well, they're gonna have they're the ones that are doing their own marketing. It's not going to change the way any of us view the football game. We're all going to go fucking still watch the Super Bowl. It's the fucking Super Bowl. But the halftime show, in my opinion, has been forever. At least people have gone, oh, there could be an alternative. That's
Yeah.
all my.
So let's jump into the point, to the topic of today's show.
Chris, I'm
And,
sorry.
hey, you know what, Chris? Fuck you. You should have been here.
That's
I
right.
mean,
If you're going to be the fucking hall monitor, then wear the fucking sash fucking proudly, pal.
So what we're going to talk about today is professional wrestling criminal charges. Before we get into some of the dirt on some of the boys, Max, there is good news. There is good news I have to share with everybody because Rob Wilds was not in the Epstein files.
Oh, bravo. That certainly, yes. Thank you, Rob, for please avoiding that fucking sachet into fucking ugliness.
And I think that the reason I put that picture up, I have it on my Facebook. I just think it's fucking funny. But the reason that I put that up was to feed into who we're gonna talk about first, and that is turns out a mutual longtime friend of ours, and that's gonna be Mike Drosy, formerly known in the WWF as Duke the Dumpster Drosy. So we've covered this a few times in the past here, Max. So
Fill me in, brother, because I don't. You know me. The one thing that I think that you love about me is that I'm a novice to a lot of this shit because when I left the wrestling business, I left the wrestling business. So, if it wasn't prevalent in 1995, fuck, I don't know nothing about it because there's a few things I followed, but I don't know shit about wrestling because when I turned it off, I turned it off. And so you got to fill me in on why is Duke in on this fucking shit.
Well, in May of 2025, a Warren County, Tennessee grand jury indicted Mike on one count of, you know what, moving forward with the rest of this episode, we're going to replace the word porn with corn, okay, just to avoid any kind of algorithmic problems. So, anyway, he was indicted on one count of attempted aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, which in Tennessee is a Class B felony. And they're alleging that he tried to purchase child sexual assault materials, child porn, via the dark web using a crypto account. So the transaction was flagged and stopped before completion by the exchange, and that alerted law enforcement to what was going on. So after he was indicted, Mike went ahead and surrendered himself to the authorities, and he posted a $10,000 bond for release. So here's where it starts to get a little bit sticky because we know that, or I should say you and I know that everything that's happening against anybody anywhere is public record. A basic search of their county docket will find it. So I'm unable to find anything else about Mike. I know that he was scheduled for January 14th of this year for his first hearing. And that would be, for people who don't know, that would be a pre-trial hearing. That's an opportunity for prosecution and defense to discuss a plea agreement or set a trial date if they couldn't find one. but that's it. Everything has dropped off after that. I cannot find any more updated information on when Mike might be going back to court. Now, I've known Mike for a very, very long time. So, and as of you, so when I heard about this, like me and Chris were both like, just we had to stop for a minute. Like we were on the phone, we are talking about it. We had to both get online and start looking up to find what we can, and we both kind of came up with a goose egg. But Mike has never come across as that kind of guy to me.
I'm shattered. I mean, I've been shattered though before. It's not the first time.
Right.
Chris Benoit shattered me, and this shatters me because I don't have anything but the most incredible fond memories of Mike. And fuck, man, it's like
And you know, I've been very mindful not to reach out to him in regards to this because, like, he used to do his the Road to Recovery podcast. You know, helping people who are still coming back from drug and alcohol addiction. Mike actually worked for the county for drug court, teaching people how to break free from drug addiction.
wow.
Like Mike was
That, that
so
see that
deeply
that's the fucking Mike that I knew. That's the dude
right.
that's the guy I knew, man. That makes sense.
So that's what freaks me out about this whole thing is okay, Mike did something. Nobody who is sitting in jail is sitting in jail because they didn't do nothing. Bullshit. You did something. The question is, what did you actually do? Could this be being misconstrued? If so, are we looking at a dismissal of this and a refiling of other? But either way, he has been arrested for trying to buy kitty corn. And that is a stigma that will just absolutely never go away. And I've wanted to reach out to Mike a dozen times, but if I was Mike, would I want to be contacted about it? No. Just leave me the fuck alone. Let me work this out myself. So, and the reason that I'm saying the good parts of Mr. Drosy is that I don't want the viewers out there just hearing bits and pieces of information and then condemning the man because we don't yet know what happened. No facts have yet been released. And I told everybody, Max, that I would keep them all updated on what's happening with Mike. And so what's happening is his first court date was postponed, and I cannot find a date for a second. But I do know in most states, they will give you a postponement for up to 60 days. So it
Wow.
could be coming up anytime. I just don't know.
Well, see, it's another one of those moments, and this is, I know this, and this is the part that when you and I, when we talk about shit like this, and they were one of the boys, and they were somebody you actually loved and cared about, that you have nothing but fucking fond memories of. How do you
Reconcile. Yeah.
reconcile that? How do you and I go on and talk about any of it's like Chris Benoit? How do I, I can't talk about what a fucking lovely guy Chris Benoit was. I have, but nobody wants to hear that because the fucking guy killed his wife and child maliciously. And so it's just like this, when a wrestler that you've never even seen exhibit those kinds of propensities
Yeah.
to fucking do that, then how do we move forward with any kind of grace?
I guess it depends on who you are and how you think of it. Because if you ask Janetti, or if you say to Janetti, how do you feel about Benoit killing his family? He'll either get, and Marty never gets really serious, or he'll get really fucking hot because he doesn't believe Benoit did it. And his reasoning is, in all the years he's known him, now me personally, my opinion is real quick, I wouldn't be surprised if he did snap and kill that whore of a wife that he had because she was a horrible person. But the fact that the man left his career for 2 years to take care of that baby, to say that he killed the kid and that he killed the kid with the crippler, give me a fucking break. That move is all a work. That move, the crossface is 100% a work. You're not killing anybody with it. He also says Chris just did not believe in God. He believed that when you're done, and then it's done. He doesn't think Benoit would have even had a Bible in his home, much less two, to put at the feet of these people he supposedly just murdered. But the third and really the most riveting point that Marty makes is there is no fucking way that Chris would have sent his friends a text. Hey, I really need to talk to you. The dogs are put away. Come in through the garage. Please come quickly. Just for his friends, like his best friends, his brothers, to walk in and find him hanging in a garage. And Marty doesn't believe a fucking word of it. He just is taking the same attitude as Chris's dad of, you know what, he's dead. Let's just let him be dead now. You want to say he did it? Fine, he did it. Let's stop now. And that's kind of where it ends. So there's a lot of people who are very passionate about the fact that, and you know, you got these idiots online with their conspiracies of Kevin Sullivan is the one who did it. That's a bunch of horse shit. Like, it wasn't Kevin Sullivan, but who knows who else could have been involved in that situation and why. Pretty much the only people who know are dead. And whoever might have been involved ain't talking.
You know, it's funny because I met Chris in the Los Angeles airport in 1985. It still hurts. It really does. I met Chris in the Los Angeles airport in 1985 when we were leaving to go to 85 or 86. I don't remember I think it would have been 86. It was the year the space shuttle blew up. And I'd never met him, didn't know who he was. And from that moment forward, he and I lived in the same room in the New Japan dojo for 9 months solid. Every fucking day for the next 9 months, I woke up to Chris Benoit sleeping in the bed across from me. And the dojo is like a boarding house. You don't have your own bathroom. It's just a room, and the bathroom's down the hall, and it's just exactly what you would think a dojo is, you know? It's a place where you fucking sleep and you train. That's it. And eat. And, you know, there's no women. There's no horny kaboogery. It's fucking a place of absolute commitment. And so here were Chris and I, you know, in this room together. And it's ironic when I hear Chris didn't believe in God, because it's funny because I never heard that. I never heard that come from Chris. And all my point is, I'm not trying to justify or disrupt what Marty's saying at all, because, you know, obviously Marty had a great relationship with Chris as well. But I had a pretty fucking good relationship with Chris. Chris got me my job in Germany. He was when I played the national anthem, and I debuted in the WCW. There were two people standing at the curtain when I came through the curtain after playing the national anthem, and the first one was Chris Benoit, and the second one was Harley Race. That's how much Chris meant to me. And Chris had a key to my apartment the whole time I lived in Atlanta, so that if he ever needed a place to stay, he was so funny. He would just call me on the phone, and he wouldn't even speak. He would just play. I made these mixtapes when we were in Japan, and he would play these fucking scenes from, like, I loved RoboCop and Once Upon a Time in America. And so I would subtract scenes from those movies to segue between the songs that we loved. And one of my favorite ones was in RoboCop. He says, "Just give me my fucking phone call." And then the other one is, "I'd buy that for $1."
I'd buy that for $1. I love that
right?
line.
And Chris would just call my phone and fucking leave that because he kept those tapes for years and years and years. I'll bet he still had them when he passed because he fucking loved that music and those tapes that I worked really hard on. And that's how I knew he was coming to town. He would never go, "Hey, Daryl, I'm coming to
Yeah.
town." He would just fucking play that scene, and I'd go, "Oh, Chris is on his way to town." So I would fucking roll in from wherever I was and expect him to be there. And sure enough, he would be there. So I never, that's why it's so fucking difficult. Yeah, as you can see, it's hard for me to even talk about the atrocity of the Chris side because all I ever knew was whether he believed in God or not. I heard a statement the other day. I know this guy said something that I'm going to carry with me the rest of my life. I know a bunch of atheists that are great Christians. And it's funny because it's so true. You know, that it's some of the in fact the way he said it is some of the best Christians are atheists. And the funny part about it is I didn't I had no idea what Chris's religious affect was, but I knew who he was as a person. And I don't care how fucking wild of a fucking scenario I would fantasize, it wouldn't include what ended Chris's life. And so that's the part that's so fucked up and disgusting about it. So I get that. But then again, we're right back to where we started was how do you then justify those feelings in your soul about somebody that you cared so much about that's demise was so incredibly fucked up, regardless of what the truth exactly is.
That's the question that we all got to work out individually. But let me ask you this then. What was your relationship like with Mr. DiBiase? MDM himself.
Well, it's funny because he's in the movie quite a bit, and I was just thinking about him today. And the one thing about Ted, I have to be honest with, I never saw anything but the $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase never showed me anyone but the $1 Million Man. I never saw who he was as a person. Everybody else, I think I got to see them behind the scenes, but in the movie, he never ever breaks character. And I never saw that from him even when the camera wasn't rolling. He never turned off the $1 Million Man around me. Now, maybe it was just because it was me, but I was around him a lot because, like I said, he was on the last tour. I went on the WWF. On the Full Metal tour, he was there, and he never turned off the $1 Million Man.
Well, what I would like to do is spend a couple of minutes not just talking about Ted, but talking about his boys too. But more specifically, we are going to get into Ted DiBiase Jr. because he, my friend, is still facing some pretty fucking serious criminal charges. So,
Oh,
those of you who remember, he used to be a worker back in the WWE. They tag teamed with Cody for a little bit, but
what did he go by?
basically,
What was his name?
he was Ted DiBiase.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then I think Daddy was his manager for a little bit because he's wearing the $1 million belt.
Okay.
So let's just kind of get into what happened to him then. So basically, he was indicted way back in April of 23 for his role in funneling millions of dollars in federal welfare funds through sham contracts with himself and others. And this is it is in the Southern District of Mississippi, but this is being prosecuted on a federal level. And basically, the charges that he is still fighting are he had 6 counts of wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud and theft from federal funds, 2 counts of theft concerning federal welfare funds, and 4 counts of money laundering. So basically, he got himself involved with the Mississippi Department of Human Services to help out people who were coming back from drug and alcohol addiction. And he himself, a serious drug addict and alcoholic, but he was not in recovery. He just simply was not. So he got himself assigned. He got himself buddied up with somebody who has already went ahead and pled guilty, and that's John Davis. He was the Mississippi Department of Human Services director. He already pleaded guilty to state and federal fraud charges. He got like 80 years with like 30 years suspended. So he's still going to serve 50 years in a federal prison for his crime. Now, the DiBiase's are very close knit, right? So it wasn't just Junior who was getting in on the action. It was a family affair. He even got little brother Brett involved. Now, little brother Brett got himself in just a whole shitload of hot water too, except he was smart. He went ahead and he just entered a guilty plea. He cooperated, he helped, he pled guilty to the money laundering charges. In fact, let me see. Was there anything else? To a conspiracy and fraud charges is what he pled guilty to. He ended up getting like a year in prison, suspended. And then they tried to bring Big Daddy Ted up on charges for money laundering because all these large donation amounts from an anonymous user was coming into the Heart of David ministry, which, in my opinion, is DiBiase's fraud. He can claim to be a good Christian all he wants to, but I've worked on a couple of the Heart of David shows, and those shows are not about God. Those shows are about fucking money. That's it. So they didn't convict DiBiase of anything. However, there were serious legal losses that he took as far as civil goes. And as everybody knows, civil just simply means it has a different legal definitions. So they didn't take Ted. They couldn't take Ted for anything criminal, so they took him for something civil. And he paid a part of the money back, but then he went ahead and shut down the Heart of David Ministries because at the end of the day, Ted, it's a money grab. Max, let me just share this one with you real quick. So I did a couple of his shows. The second night, he says, "Okay, Rob, what I want you to do tonight is after your match, we're going to have a bunch of these kids from the church, and they're going to come out from underneath the ring. They're going to be dressed in spectral robes, and they're going to have face paint on, and they're going to wrap chains around you. We're going to kill all the lights. There's going to be a spotlight on you with them wrapping chains around you." And I'm listening because he's the boss, right? This is what he wants me to do tonight. He's paying me really fucking well to be here. And he goes, "And then we're going to put a microphone in your hand, and you're going to give your testimony about how God..." I said, "Oh, nope, not doing that, Ted." I said, "Look, buddy, you booked me to come up in here and do a couple of matches for you, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. When you want me to start tapping into my own faith to try to make you an extra dollar, you're out of your fucking mind." That was my last time ever working for Ted. Me and Ted never clicked after that. Go figure. But he was going church to church to church, charging them like $100,000 to do a wrestling show. So then those people would give the church donations. But Ted still got a piece of the donation. So he wanted me to go do this "I'm saved, thank you, DiBiase" gimmick so we could get extra Fuck him, man. So the DiBiase's are all kind of shitbags in my opinion. But as far as what you know about the family, does it shock you to hear what's happening with them?
You know, I've watched his documentary, and he never turns off the $1 Million Man.
Well, that's because that's who he is, right?
He never turns
he
that
had to
off.
live that gimmick. That was part of his job.
Right, and that's the part of Ted that I can be completely honest and not feel a bit bad in this sense, is that, Rob, I never saw anything but the $1 Million Man. You know, that's the only guy I ever saw. And I when I say that, I don't think that when the WWF created the character, the $1 Million Man, they certainly didn't create that character with moral fiber. That wasn't the fucking context of them creating the $1
Well, the
Million
context
Man.
is you're going to be the Vince McMahon of wrestling. You're going to be the wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be the kid to steal money out of a black kid's hand, and
Taking the basketball. Yes, I remember that.
the whole basketball fucking thing. To this day, I look at that and I think to myself, wow, what fucking genius put that ugly shit forward. Because I don't care. I don't. That's not a heel. That's something that even a fucking heel wouldn't even envision. That's, and that's what I'm saying. The only thing can I ask you a question? So I have to make sure I separate this from the beginning. Wasn't Brett Favre involved in Mississippi in the same context as this?
Brett Favre was involved in the same investigation. You are absolutely correct. This man, although they didn't have enough evidence to formally charge him, was still very strongly considered a conspirator in this whole setup.
Okay, I thought so, because I'm going, fuck, I just watched the Brett Favre 30-30, and I'm positive that they fucking talk about Favre. In fact, most of the fucking thing wasn't about what an amazing football player he was. It was about what a fucking crook and an asshole he was as a human being, which blew my fucking mind, because I didn't expect that about Brett Favre and what he did to his wife and what he did to his family. And because his wife had cancer, and he was ugly at the end of her life, and the whole thing. So I somehow thought that there was some, because he's from Mississippi, and when you said Mississippi, I went, I think Favre was involved in that whole conspiracy with one of the politicians in Mississippi who was skimming with them.
That's absolutely fucking right. Yes, sir. So, like, this thing, now the thing that blows me away is, okay, Brett, right, the youngest, he wanted to put this behind him. So he did work with the judge, and he did work with the prosecution, and he cooperated in every possible way that they asked him to, and he pled guilty to all charges. So they said, okay, we're going to give you 90 days in jail suspended because you cooperate. But he had to do, I think, 3 years of probation.
And he had a felony on his record. So
exactly. Well, he's got a couple of felonies. But Big Brother, Ted Jr., he's so fucking stupid that he thinks he's going to fight the law and win. And he's not. He is just not. Look, there is no way that Brett would have pled guilty unless they said, we got you, dude. And this is what we have on you. We got you. This is what we have on your brother. We got him too. So do you want us to hit you as hard as we're going to hit him? And he's like, no. Well, same thing. I'm sure they said, great, let's work this out. Let's just put this to bed. DiBiase Jr. tried with a big fuck you. I've literally seen 3 different videos of Ted Sr. leaving courthouses and media trying to get comment. Him just doing that stone face, walking straight, trying to pretend like they're not even there. Yeah. And it's like, dude, at least say no comment. Don't just be like, oh, I don't even know you're here. That's dumb. You're not 6. Don't hold your breath until it goes away. That's not how life fucking works.
Well, if you do that, the unfortunate side is we're all media savvy enough that when you do that, well, okay, then we're left to presume
Make
that
our own calls.
we're going to make our own call. If you're going to fucking do that, and you're going to let the prosecuting attorney and the DA fucking tell us who you are, well then, if you're
That's
not
who
going to
you are.
defend yourself, I guess we're going to have to believe what the people that are coming after you are saying about you.
You know, like even myself on my last, my final drug conviction. I finally pulled my head out of my ass. Said, you know what? They're going to just send me to prison this time, and I'm just going to go. So let me go get clean first. I don't want to go in still rolling on cocaine as heavy as I was. So I went to rehab, but I did my thing, and I came out and I went right to the courthouse and I surrendered because I had charges that were still chasing me.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my public defender because I just said, look, I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to plead guilty. And he goes, don't do that. No, meet me tomorrow at the courthouse and let's go talk to the judge. I say, well, whatever. But I want to get this out the way. And so we show up way before court even opened. And he was out there and he looked at me and he looked at my file and looked at me and said, Jesus Christ, dude, you look great. And he showed me my last mugshot. Wow, when you are living in that kind of thinking and that
Yeah,
kind of denial, you
yeah,
just have no idea. I
yeah.
looked like I'd been dead for 3 days before they picked me up. So the fact that I went in there, my lawyer pops in before court opened, before even people were even being let in. And he goes to the judge, and I heard him say, Rob's here, and he's here to surrender, and he's here to plead guilty. And I heard the judge chuckle and said, no, he's not. Because that's all I did to her on all my other convictions was just lie, and lie some more, and violate terms, and fuck you. So she's like, all right, snapped her fingers. They took my pee. They came back clean. And she went, wow, I'm going to give you drug court. So when you own up to my point of this is when you own up
No,
to your,
yeah, of course.
you just slide yourself into the home base and ask the umpire for mercy. They will
Yeah,
give it to you. So
yeah,
why is Ted Jr. being such an unbelievable twat? Trying to be like, oh, I didn't do it. No, you did do it. There is enough evidence where you did do it. When they caught me with cocaine, with half an ounce of cocaine and $12,000, they caught me red-handed. I did it. What am I going to do? Deny it? No, it was me. They caught you red-handed, bro. You're fucked.
yeah.
So as far as Ted Jr. goes, I kind of want to see this thing end in him getting some prison time.
You
Because
know, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
when you're stealing from welfare, you are stealing from hungry children. You
Yeah,
motherfucker, you.
yeah,
You're stealing from single mothers
yeah,
trying so hard just to see next month. You
yeah,
piece of garbage, you.
yeah.
You also have a millionaire for a father. You worked for the WWE. You motherfucker, you. I hope you go to prison.
You know, you know what's you know. I'm going to use Hogan as an example of what you're
Okay.
talking about. I remember I was so excited when Hogan was going to go on Arsenio Hall because he was going to go on Arsenio Hall, and the word had it that he was going to go on and he was going to confess, and he was going to come out clean, and he was going to say, "Look, man, I'm sorry. I did the gas. I fucking was, I was eating the shit for fuck's sakes." And he was gonna change the world. And I thought, Terry has the ability. He is fucking Hulk Hogan, and the impact he could have had that night
Yeah.
on the Arsenal. And I remember it like it was fucking yesterday.
But instead, he went Vince corporate bitch.
He went, oh, I've only done steroids 7 times, and it was only because I was injured. And it was like, the problem is, Terry, everybody could take one look at you and know the fucking truth. You don't have to. And Hogan was Hogan. Nothing I say is gonna fucking take away from the legend of Hulk Hogan. He's Hogan. But the impact he really could have had, it's like the story of him turning his back on Jesse when they were trying to start a union for the boys. And the whole reason Jesse tried to start that union for the boys was because one of the most prominent people in the world had told Jesse, "You guys need a fucking union." And that was the fucking leader of the players union at the time in the NFL. And so for fucking Terry to go out there and lie to all of our faces, we all knew it. And do you remember what happened after that? That was the moment when the wrestling business almost fucking died. They couldn't fucking fill a high school gym, the WWF. They couldn't fucking fill a gym in fucking Connecticut, fucking high school with wrestling fans because everybody watched that and went,
It was disgusting.
bullshit. Yeah. Bullshit, Terry. You just lied. And imagine had he gone out on Arsenio and go, "You know what, man? I fucked up, little kids. I fucking did anabolic steroids. But from this day forward, I'm never going to do them again. And I'm going to be with you to say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and do the right thing. And we'll get through this thing together. I'm sorry for what I did. And let's be a different fucking
But we know that Big Daddy made that call on what he was going to say before he went out. Vince told him, "You're not doing that. You're going to say A, B, and C." And then Hulk's like, "Yeah, dude, because I make too much money not to."
Exactly what you know, goddamn good and well. Vince was sitting there with his hands on the purse strings, and he said, "If you go out there and you do that, it's gonna, you're never gonna. First of all, you're never gonna be able to do the gas again, so you're immediately gonna deflate. You're immediately gonna weigh 195 pounds, and everybody go, obviously, fucking steroids do something because you can't just maintain." That kind of physique your whole fucking life and not engage in those fucking things. And that's the part that was always so sad. I to this day, and I got a lot of heat for that because I was pretty vocal about being sad that Terry just decided he was going to take that direction. And you don't fucking, as you know, you don't piss Hogan off.
That's right.
Well,
you know what we should do? We should go ahead and put a pin on it right there, brother, because we are over time. See what happens when Chris isn't here? The whole fucking ship just gets messed up.
God damn it.
God damn it,
but that's okay, isn't it? I mean, we sailed off into a different sunset, but it was still a pretty sunset.
It's still are we going to hold hands after this?
I think so. There's a moment when we all need to wake up and smell the sunset.
That's right. Smells so much better than cocaine. Hey, yeah. I don't do cocaine. I just like the way it smells. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to get the fuck out of here. I'm Rob Wilds. That's the great and powerful Max Payne. This is WrestleShoot right here on the Antisocial Network, and we will see you next week, and we are going to keep you guys posted on all the DiBiase criminals. See you, Puddin'.
Peace out.